Imagine you're going home after a long day. Except your home has no electricity, no glass windows, no plumbing, no locks, and no guarantee that something bigger than you isn't already living inside. There's no Zillow, no rent, no mortgage. Just one question that decides whether you survive the night. Can your shelter keep the cold out, the heat in, the rain off, and the danger away? Because for most of human history, housing wasn't lifestyle. It was life support. So what did ancient people's homes actually look like? How did they build them before steel, before cement, before power tools, before the idea of a house was even normal? Let's time travel through the evolution of shelter, from temporary survival camps to the first cities. And you'll see something surprising. The story of human housing isn't a straight line toward comfort. It's a series of solutions to the same basic threats: weather, predators, insects, disease, and other humans that start before farming, before cities, when humans lived as hunter-gatherers. If you're moving constantly, you don't build a mansion. You build something that's fast, portable, and good enough. In many places that meant natural shelters: caves, rock overhangs, dense tree cover, because the best walls are the ones you don't have to build. But humans didn't just use caves. They engineered living spaces inside them. Hearths placed where smoke could escape. Sleeping areas arranged away from drafts, storage spots, working spots. Archaeologists find repeated use of certain areas, meaning ancient shelters weren't random. They had floor plans, not drawn on paper, but repeated in behavior. And when caves weren't available, people built with what they had: branches, hides, grasses, reeds, and earth. A temporary hut made from bent wood poles, covered in hides, can be surprisingly warm, especially with a fire and bodies close together. And here's the first housing lesson ancient people learned: a shelter doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to shift the odds. But the moment humans start staying in one place longer, near good water, seasonal food, predictable hunting routes, shelters get more serious. You start seeing semi-permanent structures, stronger frames, thicker coverings, better windbreaks, sometimes dug-in floors to reduce exposure. In cold environments, insulation becomes the whole game. People use animal hides, grasses, and packed earth. They make bedding. They layer materials. Because a human body loses heat fast when it's exposed, and in many climates, a single bad night can kill you. A good house in prehistory is basically a temperature-controlled device. Then agriculture arrives, and this is the real housing revolution. When you farm, you can't move every week. You have fields, stored grain, tools, animals, and property. That creates a new kind of shelter. The home becomes a storage unit and a security system. Early farming villages often used local cheap materials that scale well: mud, clay, reeds, stone, and wood. One of the most important ancient building technologies is also one of the simplest: mudbrick. Sun-dried bricks made from mud and straw are cheap, surprisingly strong, and work incredibly well in dry climates. They also solve a big problem. Once you can make standardized bricks, you can build faster, thicker, and higher. Mudbrick is basically ancient mass production. Now zoom into the first cities, Mesopotamia. For example, where homes start to look like something you'd actually recognize as urban housing. In hot regions, the smartest house isn't open and airy like a modern Instagram villa. It's often the opposite: thick walls, small openings, and a courtyard. Courtyard houses are genius because they manage heat. Thick walls slow down temperature change. A central open space lets air move. Rooms can be arranged around it like thermal zones: cooler areas, warmer areas, storage areas. And in a dense city, inward-facing homes also offer privacy and security. Not because ancient people were antisocial, but because cities bring a new threat: other humans. When you're surrounded by strangers, walls matter more than ever. And notice what happens as soon as homes become permanent. They become unequal. Housing starts reflecting status. Some people have more rooms, better materials, better locations, better protection. The house becomes a visible signal of power. That's a pattern that never goes away. Now jump to ancient Egypt. Egypt is famous for monuments, but most people didn't live in stone palaces. Many lived in modest mudbrick homes. The environment shapes everything. In hot, dry climates, mudbrick works beautifully. Houses could be arranged to manage sunlight, wind, and heat. And because the Nile floods, location and elevation matter. Living too close to water is convenient until it isn't. Cities and villages develop patterns. Higher ground, smarter placement, stronger walls. And again, the home isn't just for sleeping. It's where you cook, store, work, and raise children. It's a production site. In the ancient world, the home is basically a small economy. Now ancient Greece. A Greek house in many city-states could look plain from the outside, simple walls, minimal display, and more functional inside. Many Greek homes were organized around a courtyard too, because courtyards are simply one of the best ways to handle light, air, and daily work in warm climates. And Greek city life adds another pressure: social structure. Homes often reflect family organization and gendered spaces. Whether that's strictly true in every case is debated, but the broader point holds. As societies get more complex, homes are designed not just for weather, but for social rules. A house becomes architecture for a culture's values. Then Rome takes housing and turns it into scale. Because Rome is a city of extremes, wealthy villas and overcrowded apartment blocks. Roman elites built villas with courtyards, gardens, water features, and private rooms, homes as status machines. But many ordinary Romans lived in multi-story apartment buildings. Dense cities create dense housing. That's not a modern problem. It's an ancient one. And Rome also shows something that changes what a house can be: infrastructure. When you have roads, water systems, sanitation, and stable supply chains, housing becomes safer and more efficient. Not perfect, far from it, but different. A home connected to a city system is not the same as a hut in a landscape. One is individual survival. The other is survival through organization. Now pull the camera back. Across all of these worlds, hunter camps, farming villages, ancient cities, what stayed the same? The purpose. Shelter solves the same threats in different ways: temperature, water, insects, predators, disease, and conflict. And the smartest ancient housing features often look boring. Thick walls, small openings, controlled smoke. Good bedding, good drainage, storage away from pests. And a layout that separates clean spaces from dirty work. Comfort is nice, but survival is the point. So when you ask, how did ancient people live? What were their houses like? The answer is, they lived inside the technology they could afford. Sometimes that technology was hides and branches. Sometimes it was mudbrick and courtyards. Sometimes it was dense apartments in a huge city. But it was always the same human instinct. Take a dangerous world and carve out a small, controlled bubble where your body can recover and your family can continue. Because the home isn't just where you live. Historically, it's the invention that made long-term human life possible. If you want to dig deeper, I'll link sources and references in the description. And if you enjoy ancient daily life explained simply, subscribe new videos regularly. Sources always cited.